Are we burying the San Diego Padres or what, AJ? What do you,
I mean,
what do you got?
Oh, they're dead and buried. 10 games under, I believe. It's weird though. You know what's funny, Britt? If you look at their numbers, they have like good numbers as a team. We just talked about Snell being a Cy Young. They still have Hader at the back end, who's had a good year. I mean, Kim's had an unbelievable year. Soto's had a bounce back year. Tatis has been okay. Machado, I mean, he's been okay. They haven't been great. But you're just like, how does this team suck? Well, they can't win in extra innings. They suck in one-run games.
Yeah.
So it's just been an awful, unlucky year. And I know we don't believe in luck here on Foul Territory, but it has just been a bad year for the Padres. Yeah, they've been done, but it's official today. You go 10 games under with like 18 games to play. Guess what? Stamp them.
Yeah.
Easy. We've been digging this grave. We've been digging this grave for a long time, but we've not wanted to push them into the grave because you look at run differential. The run differential's one of the positive ones, and there's teams with the negative run differentials that are in the last wild card spot or still in the hunt. The Giants, the Diamondbacks, and you look at them and you say, okay, why are they not winning? And there's some crazy stats of like 0-11 in extra inning games, and some other ones where like opposing hitters are hitting 405 against them with a 738 slugging percentage in extra inning games. They're 6-22 in one-run games. Like it's like you sit there and you go, why are they not winning? And the first thing in baseball, maybe in basketball too, but like football, they don't ever say this. They're like, well, they just didn't win. It's because they didn't execute the X's and O's. But in baseball, it's like, there must be a clubhouse issue. Sometimes it's just not enough. The team didn't come together this year, and you can go visit their gravesite. But I'll tell you what, as you're visiting their gravesite, I know there's going to be people that are picking them for next year because this team is almost completely intact. And now they're not going to have the wear and tear of playing in postseason baseball. Yu Darvish is already shut down for this season. Guys are going to get an extra month to recuperate, maybe a little NLCS hangover. Who knows what it is, but this team is going to be legit for next year.
Yeah, you guys mentioned it. We don't talk about luck often, but there are people in there. I talked to someone the other day that said, if we started the season over, we truly believe we'd be better, right? It was just like, how could we possibly keep losing one-run games? How can we keep losing extra inning games? That core four, as AJ mentioned, has just been okay, right? Manny Machado, okay. Tatis, okay, right? Like that Xander Bogaerts. You look at this group, Juan Soto, and if 2 or 3 of them had an Acuna or a Freeman year, we wouldn't even be talking about burying them. They'd be in it. So it's really the case of like nobody stepped forward and everybody kind of regressed. It was similar to the Mets. You just kept saying like, who's on the roster? Why aren't they good still? Right? It was so confounding. So
Brittany, who's having a bad year? I mean, a really awful year, though. For
not
them.
an awful year. It's all just okay, right? Manny Machado is probably going to get surgery at the end of the year. That, by his standards, that's a down year. When you have superstars that are having okay years, that's a down year. That's a down year for Juan Soto. It's a down year for Xander Bogaerts. It's not a good year for Manny.
Ha-Seong Kim's having a great year.
Yeah, he's like a fan favorite. My family live out there, and they're obsessed with him. Every time he comes to the plate, they just chant over and over again, like Ha-Seong Kim. Like, which I didn't realize. He's like a cult hero in San Diego, which is amazing. They have this team of superstars, and everyone loves Kim. Yeah, I don't know. The big question to me, guys, is do heads roll, right? Because they just signed AJ Preller to a long extension. I don't think anybody on this show thinks that Bob Melvin can't manage. So what do you do? As you said, Kratzy, like, it's always, oh, the clubhouse is bad, or, oh, someone needs to pay for this. But does someone in the San Diego? Does somebody need to pay for this?
It's okay that they don't need to pay for it. I know you're looking at what's happening up in New York and, in Boston. Oh, Hein Bloom didn't even try, or ownership didn't even try. Everybody wants to point blame at somebody. When you put together a team like this and you just lost in the NLCS last year, that means you put together a good team. It showed you last year you put together a good team. Now, internally as an organization, you need to look at it and say, okay, Bob Melvin, is there some clubhouse dissension? Is there somebody that we need to get rid of? Not, oh, let me check my phone. What do the fans say? Oh, there must be clubhouse dissension. Oh, so-and-so is a bad teammate. They don't know. This is a completely internal thing that you have built a team, and to Preller's credit or discredit, whatever, he built this team. He's got to stand by it. And it's okay if you have a down year. A lot of things are saying it shouldn't be like this. You should be about 500 in one-run games. You should be about 500 in extra inning games. And to me, I don't think you need an Acuna or Freeman type of season to make it as far as you want to make it. They got Juan Soto last year, and he fell on his face as a Padre. Now he's turned around. Ha-Seong Kim has now made a huge adjustment. If Manny Machado is hurt and he needs surgery, he's going to most likely have a better year. Xander Bogaerts is 1 year into his contract, and he's comfortable into the city. Like, there's a lot going on. You have a potential Cy Young candidate in Blake Snell. So this team is legit. He's going to be a free agent, so they'll have to make some decisions pitching-wise, but they don't need to fire somebody just because you don't win in 1 year.
Yeah, AJ, you've been on bad teams. Is it? Oh, it always leaks out that it's the clubhouse, right? Like people always say, well, but like when you're winning.
No, listen, I was in Atlanta 2015 and 2016. We were awful. We loved each other. We just weren't very good talent-wise. I mean, it had nothing to do with the clubhouse. We loved each other. I mean, we had Freeman and Frank Gore and Kelly Johnson and a bunch of great guys. I mean, it wasn't anything about the clubhouse. It was just we weren't very good. This team is the reason this team is confusing is Gary Sanchez kind of had a bounce back year, right? Ha-Seong Kim had a good year. Bogaerts kind of had a down year. Machado's having an okay year. Juan Soto's having, a bounce back year for him. Tatis has been okay, but Grisham's been kind of standard. Grisham's last few years. Cronenworth's down. It's just the 0-11 in extra innings, the terrible record in one-run games. That points to bullpen management usually and luck, bad luck. And will they continue next year? I don't know. Did they think it was too easy after they beat the Dodgers and went to the NLCS last year? Maybe, but what do you change? You're not changing Bob Melvin, I don't think, unless he wants to retire, which he's not probably going to do. He lives in San Diego. AJ Preller, I mean, they've already been through this a couple of times where he's made all these trades and hasn't worked, and the owners kept him. So I think they come back and try again next year. Juan Soto's got one more year. Machado signed a long-term extension. Maybe you got to find a bullpen guy if Hader leaves, but and they're going to bring back the same nucleus. And we said this at the beginning of the year about San Diego. We hope they're good because their team is locked up like this for a long time.
One thing too, Britt, I saw AJ Preller. I think he has 9 years as the GM. He has 0 90-win seasons.
Wow.
I don't know what that means.
Maybe it's
ownership loves him though. Really, ownership really likes him, which is really what matters.
And he put a good team out there. He's done some great moves. This is a good team that needs to play. That needs to just win more games. How about that? Like Fernando Tatis, all his shortfalls, shortcomings, and all the things that we talk about with PEDs. His offense is actually down, but I think he's rated as like the second highest defensive runs saved in all of baseball. All of baseball. A guy that never played right field, was supposed to be shortstop of the future, is now this DRS Gold Glove candidate. Most likely will win the Gold Glove out in right field.
Yeah. It's remarkable what down years, like AJ said, these guys aren't having well, they are for them though, which is crazy. So RIP Padres.
But hold on. I know you're a Machado guy, but 252, 28, and 84? I mean, was that a down year?
For him, though, look at what he did last year.
But last year was the best year he ever had. So looking at last year, look at the years, that's pretty much par for what he's done his career.
But I think they thought, coming off of last year, getting that deal, being kind of the undisputed leader of that team, that, he put the team on his back last year without Tatis. I think people didn't really realize how much they missed Tatis.
So then is it Tatis? Is it
I
Machado? Is it Soto?
I think it's
is
all
it
of them.
Bogaerts? Is it Cronenworth?
Round and round we go.
It's
Cronenworth's fault. It's Matt Carpenter's fault. Matt Carpenter, you did it.
It's Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez hit 20 home runs, and now he's on the 60-day. Nope, definitely Gary's fault.
I think it's starting pitching, too. Musgrove wasn't healthy all year. He's a huge part of that team, I think, behind the scenes, too. He's very vocal. Yu Darvish wasn't good. He was inconsistent, I guess is a better way to put it, even before he got shut down. Blake Snell, as you guys mentioned, 5 and dive. I mean, a veteran starting pitcher said to me, no one does less with more than Blake Snell, right? He should be pitching into the 6th, the 7th, but he's always that 5-inning guy. And, usually they coughed it up a lot of the time. So RIP to the Padres season.